indoors at the rack. It is warm and it will be loud as St. John's and Rutgers get together. Big East basketball is coming up. Basketball for a Saturday in January as St. John's gets ready to take on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. And welcome to courtside here at the rack. I'm Andy Fried along with Bob Valvano. We're glad you're with us. Bob, nobody likes to be in last place. These two teams are fighting to stay out of the cellar. For St. John's, though, one guy they really need is Elijah Ingram.
Well, especially today. You take a look at their stats. They're competitive, even in this 5-game losing streak, in almost every category except three-point shooting. They only make 4 a game. Rutgers makes about 7 a game. That's why that number you see at the end there, about 38% from the three-point line. He's going to have to give them some threes to offset what would be an advantage for the Scarlet Knights.
And, of course, Ingram's a New Jersey kid who went to St. Anthony's also. Meantime, Rutgers and Gary Waters, they put the friendly confines. They're 7-1 here at home.
Yeah, and the one is not bad. They lose by a point to number 1 UConn. They really like this building. Take a look at those numbers. 78% of overall games in this building, they're victorious, and 2/3 of the Big East games. For St. John's to get on track, it's going to be a slippery slope today because Rutgers means business in this building.
All right, it's St. John's and Rutgers coming up. Rutgers 7-1 at home. They're 9-6 overall, while St. John's trying to climb out of the cellar. They are 4-11, and they've lost 5 straight games. Basketball is coming up. Hosts the St. John's Red Storm in the battle of the bottom teams these days in the Big East, but both teams trying to get their ships righted. The starting lineups for St. John's, of course, Grady Reynolds leads them in scoring and rebounding. Kyle Cuff joins him in the front court. Abe Kadam, Elijah Ingram, who we mentioned at the outset, and Darrell Hill runs the point. For Rutgers, Hervé Lamazana inconsistent, but when he's on, the team tends to win. Sean Exani, and in the middle, Adrian Hill, and Marquise Webb, and Ricky Shields. Shields leading the team in scoring.
He's only had 1 game this year where he's not made a 3. We talked about at the top the advantage Rutgers has behind the arc.
And the Scarlet Knights, of course, led by Gary Waters, who in his 3rd year, his record over 500, much better here at home. 52-year-old, first used to coach at Kent State.
Yeah, I was going to say overall, though, 131 and 95, but perhaps most impressive, voted the best-dressed coach in America by collegeinsider.com. Very impressive there.
Well, looking to join that list would be Kevin Clark, and it's kind of a tough spot for Kevin. Of course, he took over for Mike Jarvis about a month ago, and even at his own admission, this is maybe going to be his only year as the interim/head coach for the Red Storm. He's not sure exactly where he'll be next year.
He's got them playing hard. They have been remarkably competitive. He deserves great credit for that because unless you've coached, you can't appreciate what a difficult job he's had. But they are hanging in. Well, again, tough task today for them in this building.
And the Red Storm come out of the tap with the basketball. Darrell Hill will run the point.
St. John's would like it to be a low-scoring game. They do well when they hold the opposition under 60, so we'll see some patience, I would think, at the offensive end.
This is Ingram between the circles. Back to Hill. Looking to make a move. And feeds off to Cada underneath, and it's 2-0 Red Storm.
They have been, as I said, sometimes they look so smooth. You say, what's wrong with this team? It was a very good first possession. Patient. Anytime you finish your first possession with a dunk, sends a message.
Rutgers, a team that can score from the outside. As Webb is into the St. John's man-to-man. Exani, the senior, lost the handle on the wave it off beforehand and called him for the travel.
Tim Higgins with the call from out front. There was definitely contact, but before the contact, took that little extra step.
So 2-0 St. John's, just about a minute in.
Again, we talk about the patience. This pace suits the visitors just fine right now.
That was a very patient first half-court set for the Red Storm.
Very composed.
Into the low blocks. Kyle Cuff backing in on Lamazana. And Lamazana, great shot blocker. And coming out of the pack is Ricky Shields. Rutgers into the transition. Lamazana can shoot from that far out, but not that time.
Ooh, that was way off the mark.
They're looking to find some consistency in Lamazana, and they just don't know who they're going to get from game to game.
Still counts just as a miss, but boy, that was not close.
Reynolds has it partially blocked, and Lamazana blocks Cuff again, and loose on the floor. It'll belong to St. John's.
St. John's the problem is, and when you're dealing with a tenuous situation we talked about, when the things come off the tracks a bit and get wobbly, it's very hard for them to get it back on track. That's been the problem they faced. So right now the lead, and they're playing well. They're
They've had leads fairly late in games, and I mean, they had what they thought was going to be an overtime game against Georgetown, and lo and behold, the defense stopped.
Just what happens when you're struggling. You find ways to lose.
Reynolds misses the three. Lamazana, the rebound stolen away by Cuff for St. John's. Here's Hill. Feeds off to Cuff, and he is fouled.
And we're only 2 minutes and 8 seconds in. This is a science experiment. We don't have enough data, but you watch the first possession, you would not think it's a team that hasn't won a game in the league. They look very composed and competitive on the road. They're getting the ball where they want it. They're getting inside. They're getting penetration. Very patient. They haven't been beaten in transition defensively. They're making hustle plays. The steal right there, which gets Cuff a chance to go to the line.
Both these teams can be different teams from half to half. Also, Kyle Cuff misses. 0-5 for Kevin Clark's Red Storm. Uncharted territory.
That's a graphic no coach wants to see under his picture, but as we said, to give him the benefit of lots of doubts with the job he's doing.
Cuff is less than 60% from the line, and he hits 1 or 2. 3-0 St. John's early on.
A little different look here. St. John's extends a bit. A little 1-2-2 3/4 court press. Again, another way to slow the game down, keep it low scoring.
Shields will try a 3 and tie the game.
Unless you do that. Unless after they break the press, you don't find shooters. That's a costly mistake. Defeats the purpose of running that.
Shields leads the team in scoring, 14.5 per game. They had 19 against Miami. And a close game, but a loss for Rutgers. Ingram, up and under move. And Reynolds fighting with Webb.
Nice look.
Cuff stuffs it home.
Well, they're making hustle plays. I mean, that was not a good shot by Ingram, but they turned it into something good because they went and got the loose ball, and then the beautiful interior pass, and their second dunk. They got 5 points, 4 on dunks.
I think both teams, Bob, feel like they're at crossroads of their season. It's almost as a coach, I would think you call upon the competitive juices of your guys to say, look, our season could go either way right now.
Well, there's no question if you're Rutgers, 7-1 here against a winless team. As we see a foul underneath, Rutgers gets their first hustle play. It's appropriate that it is Exani. This guy just does a little bit of everything terrifically well.
St. John's foul number 4, Abe Cada. His first personal foul, the Red Storm.
We talked about the hustle. That was not a good shot by Ingram, but the good hustle. Reynolds finds the open man, and then the dunk by Cuff, his 3rd point of the ball game, and St. John's has an early lead.
Exani, one of the better free throw shooters on the team. And gets them both. 6-5, or 5-5 is our score. A little more than 3 minutes in.
Lamazana clapping his hands, trying to use that as a springboard, get his team going a bit.
Elijah Ingram into the Rutgers man-to-man. Reynolds looking to take Hill. And banks it in.
Beautiful post-up move there. It's a simple, what you might call old-school New York basketball. Find a man in the right spot. Simple little isolation move, and he able to use the window and score.
Shields will try another 3-pointer, over and off. And out of bounds, it'll stay on Rutgers.
Rutgers starting to get some hustle plays here. See what they can get on the baseline out of bounds. Shields already has a 3, so except for Wisconsin, that statistic, he's had a 3 against everybody else on their schedule. Remains intact. Got that out of the way early.
Lamazana looks to make a move and buries it.
Nice. Good ball movement there. Nice patience. And now Gary Waters beckoning his team to play. Get a little effort on the defensive end here. That's how you put a run together. That's only half the possession. Now you got to get it done this end.
Gary Waters' team calling a players-only meeting after the loss against Miami. And this one's heading out of bounds. It's going to stay with St. John's.
The problem when you don't make a lot of threes or even take a lot of threes, your guards sometimes over-penetrate. You saw that with Hill on that one.
And that brings us to our first officials timeout. 15:45 to go. A 7-7 tie. St. John's and Rutgers. Lamazana trying to do it for the Scarlet Knights.
Please report immediately to the program.
Here at the rack, 7-7 tie early on St. John's and Rutgers. You know, about 8,000 fans can fit in this place, and just about every seat is taken.
Yeah, great fans. They know that they're 7-1 here this year, and they are here to support them again. Good crowd.
St. John's will inbound with 16 on the shot clock. And they find Grady Reynolds. Here's Elijah Ingram, who's going to set the offense back up. And he'll hand off to the true point guard, Hill. Live in Queens, New York.
Shot clock's down to 7, remember, because he sees it, he looks down. They're going to have a hard time getting one off here.
1 second, and they can't get a shot off.
That's not entirely sure why. Out of a timeout, you should know. Remember, the ball was knocked out of bounds on the drive. They didn't have a full shot clock, and they ran it at the top as if when they inbounded it, they had the full 35. They took too long to recognize that and cost them a possession. In a low-scoring game, can't afford to give away possessions.
Especially out of a timeout, you'd think that they would know exactly how much time was on the shot. Webb feeds off to Lamazana. Looking to back in on Queta. And too hard on that shot. Here is Reynolds for the Red Storm. And Hill looking to take it all the way to the hoop. Can't connect on the layup. And Exani's got it for the Scarlet Knights.
2-on-1.
Back and forth they come. Shields. And Rutgers takes the lead.
Well, that's the danger. If you're going to opportunity break, you better convert. St. John's has made a commitment to play at a slow pace. It's a good decision. Caught the defense napping a bit, but then you miss it and then give up a run out the other way, a 2-on-1. Which actually was a 4-on-1 if you looked at the trailers. That is a formula for a long day for the Red Storm.
9-7. Rutgers with their first lead in a little while. And a couple of ties, a couple of lead changes already. Ingram off the back iron. Reynolds with an offensive rebound and putback.
Beautiful stick back. And again, great effort on the glass. He's got 4, and they have made their presence known on the offensive board.
Lamazana had ideas there for a moment. They dump it underneath. And a foul. Adrian Hill was fouled. You know, Hill's a surprising player, a guy that got 35 minutes against Pittsburgh and made them count. Kind of a guy that doesn't get the headlines, but when he's on, it kind of helps the engine go here for the Scarlet Knights.
Well, they clearly had an isolation in the post that time, and actually the St. John's did a fairly good job of getting the double to him. They kind of bailed him out a bit with the foul, but a good strong move, and as you said, the confidence to throw it in there and let him make something happen.
This is on the free throw. That was Abe Queta picking up his first personal.
Actually, I think that's 2 on Queta now. It is. That's 2 on Abe Queta.
2 on Abe Queta early on.
Hill is a guy who's known more as a rebounder and a ferocious defender, but you know, you see the good numbers there. 5 rebounds a game, almost a block and a half exactly a game. So he gets some points in there, and here he comes up with a free throw. It's an added bonus. Scarlet Knights.
So 1 of 2, 10-9 Rutgers. A couple of substitutions. There's Byron Joins coming into the game.
Quincy Douby in as well, and I'll tell you why that's significant. He's one of the guys that shoots over 35% behind the three-point line. Rutgers has 5 guys who do that, 4 of which have made at least 10. St. John's only has 2 of each as we get a travel here and a turnover. And that's an advantage, I would think, as this game wears on. Fatigue may set in. They're going to start exploiting. Defensively, you get some breakdowns. Those guys will start shaking loose for some shots.
The thing about Douby also is that he comes off the bench and averages 10 points a game. He's 3rd on the team in scoring.
As we said, fine perimeter shooter. Only a freshman.
Almost lost the handle there for a moment. This is Douby, freshman out of Brooklyn. Exani looks to force it underneath and joins. Couldn't come out of the pack with it. Did he get the timeout? He did get the timeout. A 30-second timeout called by Andre Stanley. That's such a tough call for the officials every time, you know?
Well, it's the right call, but again, as a coach, there's no reason to put it behind your back there, and you did. Now you cost your team a timeout. I mean, that's the coach should be looking at. There's preventable things that St. John's, you look at these close games they've lost of late. Those are the little things that sometimes can make a difference. A timeout late in the game, a wasted possession. But again, they didn't turn it over at least.
So St. John's will hang on to the basketball. Trailing Rutgers by a point, 13.5 to go. Neither team all that hot from the field as of yet.
St. John's has a lot of attempts, 4 of 12. Rutgers just 3 of 7. That's a tribute to their offensive rebounding. They've been firing to the glass here. Reynolds going hard, Cuff going hard.
Hill's going to set it up for the Red Storm. Stanley has been averaging 8 points off the bench.
Looking for a lob on the back screen for Reynolds. Not there. Good defense by Rutgers.
Shot clock down to 10. Tapped out of bounds. It'll stay here. Shot clock down to 8.
All right, well, now let's see what they have as a sideline out of bounds play with a short clock. Most teams have some things in their attack for this. And a little confusion there. I think they were trying to go to Ingram.
Ingram bounces it to Reynolds. Can't cash in. And it's going to head back the other way.
Reynolds, as we said, very aggressive on the boards. That time a little too aggressive, gets his first foul.
St. John's foul number 33.
Sometimes we say a patient offense, but sometimes they can't get things to develop. That's why the shot clock ran down. You were saying they were looking for the back screen. They just couldn't find it.
Yeah, they tried to get a back screen for 11, then the sideline out of bounds. I believe Reynolds was supposed to screen for Ingram. Instead, they both broke to the corner, and they almost threw that pass away, and they wound up not really getting anything out of that.
Marquise Webb leaves it short. And here come the Red Storm.
Not a lot of patience on either end. Not a lot of ball movement anyway.
This is Stanley, a fall away. Couldn't get the friendly roll.
A lot of one-on-ones. A series of one-on-ones going on right now. Now Rutgers gets a little bit of ball movement.
Shields looking to take Hill. Now Douby, left-handed drive, and it's blocked away. A 1-on-3. Ingram's going to take it anyway, and that's it stripped away. Here come the Scarlet Knights into the transition. A 4-on-2 Shields. Three-pointer.
Well, that's where you see a little bit of the breakdown. 1-on-3, they turn it over, and 3 of the Red Storm very slow getting back. Shields makes him pay for that. He has 8 right now, 2 3-pointers. That was a bad possession. I consider a possession at each end. A bad shot selection, and then no hustle getting back.
8 points already for Ricky Shields, and a traveling violation on Elijah Ingram. And the Scarlet Knights have themselves a 4-point lead, their largest lead of the game to this point. An officials timeout. That 3-pointer started to rain in for Ricky Shields and the Scarlet Knights.
A streak is on the line in the ACC. Maryland goes for a 12th straight win against a Clemson team due for an upset. ACC Sunday Night Hoops on MSG.
Rutgers 13-9 leading St. John's, a little more than 8 minutes into the ball game. Ricky Shields has really started to light things up from 3, and I know Gary Waters has been looking for another go-to guy outside of Lamazana. Shields may be that guy.
Well, he is. You know, it's not like Johnny come lately. He's 7th all-time in Rutgers history with 141 3-pointers made, and he's got 2 today, which you talked about. We said at the top of the show that's a big advantage for the home team, and now that maybe they're getting a chance to exploit it. St. John's comes out and shows them a different defensive look, a 3-quarter court press.
Douby with a 3-pointer.
We said you that when he came in the ball game too, that's what he does. You mentioned, Andy, that he averages 10 points a game. You know he's coming off the bench. One of the reasons why, a fine shooter, and now 3 trifectas for the Scarlet Knights, and they've got a 7-point lead.
Douby knows how to light it up. High school at Grady High School, scored 60 points twice in his senior year. And Grady Reynolds brings the Red Storm right back.
Grady Reynolds.
Very active inside Grady Reynolds. Going to the glass and a good move there. But that's too easy. Look at that, even though it didn't go in.
That was all but uncontested.
Yeah,
there.
it really was.
Andre Stanley caught behind the backboard.
Yes, but they keep hustling. That's what I said. That is what you got to give this team great credit for. They keep playing. You can question their decision-making, but not their efforts generally.
Darrell Hill misses the long perimeter shot. Here come the Scarlet Knights. Joel Wiggin finding Exani,
and they take a charge.
Good call, too.
I mean, those are the things I'm talking about. They've probably made 3 or 4 bad decisions in the last 3 minutes alone, but they generally don't stop playing. They were a little lax getting back on the Shields 3, but you saw them hustle, get the loose ball there, pick a charge up at this end, and that's, if they could just get a little cohesiveness and consistency, you know, they're by and large making a pretty good effort. Kevin Clark deserves some credit for that, I think.
And a team that's lost 5 straight, you know they've got to be itching just to get 1 back into the win column, especially in conference.
Especially the way they've lost.
Still a little heartbreakers. Ingram feeds off to Reynolds. Into Exani.
He wanted a foul there looking at Tim Higgins. He just looks back at him, which is what Tim does.
And Hamilton called for the traveling violation.
He is unruffleable. I saw him. I was at the Cincinnati-Louisville game. You got two teams coming in, of course, to the Big East, and that was a madhouse, packed Cincinnati undefeated. Tim looked like he was taking his dog out for a stroll. Nothing fazed him. He called a great game.
I believe Tim did the Providence, Texas game too this year with a controversial ending with the buzzer.
That was an unusual. You learn something new every day. I did not know the lights were not in sync with the zeros.
I think the nation kind of found out about that rule at once. And Douby has it slapped out of bounds, and he was the one that touched it last.
Oh, Gary Waters sensing that they had a chance. They had it to 7, had a lot of momentum, and now they've wasted something. Slaps the scorer's table. The wasted opportunity there, because those are possessions that are turnovers that are preventable. That was just a bit of carelessness there.
6 turnovers now for the Scarlet Knights. Ingram open for 3. Can't connect.
That would have been big. I think their first 3 in the game and cut it to 2. They still have yet to hit one from behind the arc.
Instead, a 5-point lead for Rutgers. Lamazana over to Douby along the sideline. Back to Lamazana. Here comes a 3. In and out.
Rebound by Hamilton that time.
Douby went for the steal. And Ingram's going to set it back up. Running the point now with Hill on the bench. Tough. Over and off. Lamazana will take it. We generally don't want Lamazana bringing it up the court, although he got the job done. And takes a 3.
Convincing fake, even though he's about 35 feet away.
At the arena, looks up at the hoop, and he never lets it go. Andre Stanley for the Red Storm is going to bring it across.
Douby, very aggressive offensively. You can see why he averages 10, but sometimes maybe a bit over-eager. A couple of shots, maybe ill-advised. That was a difficult shot. It was a long way away to take a floater that time.
So a 5-point lead for Rutgers. Looking to trap Ingram in the corner. Reynolds backing in on Exani and falling away to hit one, and it's 16-13.
Well, he is Quasimodo right now for the Red Storm. He's got him on his back and carrying him. That has been really, really active play inside by Reynolds. 8 points, myriad of moves, tough on the offensive glass.
8 points for Grady Reynolds to lead the Red Storm. Wiggin got caught without his dribble. Lamazana. Exani facing the basket. Working on Cuff. And threw the ball away. And Stanley went for it. It's going to belong to the Red Storm.
Not great spacing that time for Rutgers. It was kind of, everybody was a little bit too close to him. So we look at Reynolds. What a nice move. Spins to his right shoulder to the lane. Knocks it down. He's got 8. As we said, he's been active on the glass. Giving them a great presence inside, which they have to. We already talked about. So Rutgers has the advantage with the 3-point shooting. St. John's has to get some things going inside.
Darrell Hill back in the game. Puts one up on the run and drops it in, and St. John's to within 1.
Bounces on back. And then got in the lane. We talked about St. John's guards having to penetrate because there are not a lot of perimeter threats. And now they extend the defense a little bit.
And it's going to be a timeout called by Gary Waters and Rutgers. Lamazana wasn't sure if he was the one that was supposed to inbound it there. Waters just kind of wanted to reorganize his troops there for a moment.
Well, they were up 16-9, so this is 6 points in a row now for St. John's. And when it was 16-9, you got the feeling that St. John's was getting wobbly again, and Rutgers had a chance to get some separation. Now it's all gone.
The lead is one of the guys that got Rutgers really off and going.
Another way to slow the game down
as he worked it from the outside.
Well, you know, that's off a dribble going to his left. See the nice 2-on-1 with the finish here, avoids the charge. And then the 3 off the kick there. You know, he's got it going a little bit. Maybe you see if you can get the offense to go through him just a little bit. That's what I talk about, the team's offensive, the fluidity, if you will. And Rutgers hasn't really had that either. You've talked about their inconsistency a bit. You know, when a guy gets it going a little bit, at least give him a chance to get his hands on it before. Give him the opportunity to see if he's got a shot. Let's see if they set something up for him here. They tried to curl him there, couldn't get it to him.
This is Webb outside to Wiggin, one of the fan favorites here.
Here it comes again. He's open.
Lamazana got a step and Cuff punches it from behind. Darrell Hill can't handle the pass, out of bounds on Rutgers basketball.
Good thing Kevin Clark is bald because he'd be pulling his hair out. Decisions that lead to 5-game losing streaks. Rutgers by 1 at the rack.
Official timeout. 1-point lead for the homestanding Scarlet Knights.
Get in the zone.
Down the lane. Gets it down low to Freeman. Jams it home with half a second to go. He jams it home with half a second to go.
Time now for the Pontiac top performance of the week. Hard to go against Cortland Freeman of Georgetown. Tuesday against this Red Storm team. Kind of stole the ball game away. Less than a second to go. He dunks it home. And for St. John's, they suddenly left the court thinking, wait a minute, I thought overtime was about to happen.
Yeah, that's how dramatic is that? A buzzer beater in general. You don't generally see a dunk at the buzzer or with a half a second to go. A big-time performance there. A good win for the Hoyas.
Wiggins, three-pointer.
There we go. That's now 4 for Rutgers. That really is the only reason they're ahead because they're not shooting particularly well. Both teams at 33%. St. John's winning the battle on the boards. Rutgers with 4 threes. St. John's still has not made one.
Opens it back up to a 4-point cushion for the Scarlet Knights.
That was a nice possession out of the timeout from Gary Waters.
Reynolds has it off his hand. Ramazana tried to save it, couldn't do it. So shot clock back to 14. This is Wiggin, who has been seeing more and more time.
He played 31. He's been averaging 31 minutes of playing time in the last 3 games.
Up and under, uncontested baseline drive for Elijah Ingram.
I think I sense, Gary Waters is thinking here, boy, they need this win desperately. As we see a foul in the backcourt by Stanley. It's a situation where the further the game goes that St. John's is in it, there's a sense of anxiety. You just want to give yourself a little separation, and that guy's trying to keep his team hanging around. He's doing a good job of it right now.
Right, if you're St. John's, you're looking to hang it. If you're Rutgers, you want to slam them and put them away early.
Absolutely. You want to go to the locker room double digits in front. Talk about, all right, guys, what do we maintain the second half and get a comfortable one? Right now, it's anything but comfortable.
And stolen away by Stanley, and he saves it inbounds.
Made some bad decisions in transition. There's another one, but again, the hustle play to get it back.
Back and forth they go. Shot no good. Here is Hill. Outlets to Shields.
They have really wasted some possessions in transition.
Hill, off balance, can't connect.
He had a guy wide open right there. Webb. Could have bounced it to him for a layup. That wasn't a particularly good break either. 2-on-1.
Malvazana feeding Webb into Cuff. And was fouled.
And a nice, good, strong move. We talked about that earlier. They are not hesitant to let Hill go make a move down there, which is great. Is a guy who's been a great rebounder and a terrific aggressive defender, but giving them some low post offense, which, frankly, this team could use.
2-point lead for Rutgers. Hill to the line for 2 shots.
It's the first foul on Cuff there. Nobody really in foul trouble. Cato, we talked about earlier, has 2.
Hill 1 out of 2 so far today. Break it 2 or 3. 2 points for Adrian Hill so far today as the Red Storm bring in Mohamed Jakate into the game. Jakate is 6'11" senior from Africa. And Hill 1 of 2 again, and loose in the air. Who's going to get it? Out of bounds, back to Rutgers.
Well, a nice back tap there to keep it alive for Rutgers. Jakate just came in and did not get the job done blocking out, but then Ingram almost bailed him out with a one-man bit of heroics. He's going to tap it over everybody at some point. Just finally ran out of real estate.
5.5 to go first half. Neither team a big run so far in this game.
Both teams' offense predicated on a lot of isolation, not a lot of ball reversals, ball movement, lots of stuff on the bounce.
Lamazana head of the circle. They're looking to find a posting uphill underneath.
Now they're down to 6, though. They got to make a decision here.
And Webb loses it. Inadvertent pass to Hill, and that goes out of bounds.
Well, you sensed it. They were looking so hard at the post. They let the shot clock go so far down. They had no flow. Turnover. We've seen both teams do a little bit of that. St. John's trying to keep the game under control in terms of tempo, but Rutgers there, I'm not entirely sure why they were so adamant about trying to throw it inside.
9 turnovers for Rutgers. Bill finds a posting up Cuff through a double team, stripped away by Lamazana. Jump ball.
Well, the arrow favors the home team. That's a great play by Lamazana getting the block.
So just a 3-point lead. You know, Coach Clark was saying this week that, you know, at some point Rutgers is going to go on an 8-2 or a 10-2 run. But they haven't had that kind of run yet, and it's been a very deliberate game for both teams.
Well, when they had it to 16-9, you had a sense they may do that.
Lamazana misses the dunk. Hill with an offensive rebound. Lamazana gets it back, and it's 22-17 Rutgers.
Frankly, it's been a game of individual efforts. That's what's made the difference on plays. Guys who are able to step up, get an offensive rebound, get a loose ball. St. John's looking hard inside to Reynolds. Really looking hard inside. He has 8 points for them already.
Ingram from an impossible angle. Almost got it to go.
He had a rebounding foul. Not yet 1-on-1. It's only a 16 foul.
Hervé Lamazana, a guy that they really lean on here at Rutgers.
He tries to dunk it under pressure and does not go, but then a loose ball chance we talk about. Just individual effort, stays with it and puts it in the basket. We've had more baskets that way than out of the flow of the offense this afternoon.
Under 4 minutes now, first half. 5-point lead. They dump it to Lamazana with Cuff on him, and he lost the handle. Here is Douby. And that won't go. He gets it back, stays in the air, and can't get that one to go. A little to basket for the Scarlet Knights, and it's St. John's ball. An official's timeout. 3 minutes, 39 seconds to go before halftime. Rutgers and St. John's in a sloppy one from the rack, but a 5-point lead for the home team. 22-17, Rutgers leading St. John's here at the rack. 3:39 to go. Before halftime, the field goal percentage, both teams kind of living up to it at this point.
Well, actually, yeah, they're living down to it, I guess is the way to put it. 13 and 14 in the Big East. And frankly, neither one of them are even shooting that well. Look at that. St. John's 8 for 24. Rutgers just 7 for 19. But here's the number again. Rutgers is 4 for 7 behind the arc. And I guess you could say, well, one of the reasons is because they are so selective. But you know what? Maybe they should go for a little more quantity and worry a little bit less about the quality, because frankly, they're not doing a whole heck of a lot inside the arc.
So take threes and only threes. Is that what you're saying?
I'll tell you what. I'd take some more strong looks at it. Run Shields off an obstacle course out there. Get some. They got 5 guys, as we said, who shoot 35% behind the arc. Maybe they can get some looks for those guys.
Here's Ingram with Douby on him. Jacquet setting a screen. Ingram banks it in.
He kept the dribble alive when they blitzed him at the top off the dribble screen, and then managed to get in the lane and shoot it with his right hand to get it away from the defender. That was a big-time move by Ingram. It's just 3 points again.
Out of the timeout, a good set for the Red Storm, and they won't go away. Trying to hang in there. Marquise Webb, who's been quiet today to this point. Until now.
Oh, nice tip.
Lamazana flying across, gets it in.
Maybe actually it's Adrian Hill.
Adrian Hill, pardon me.
Hill comes across with a good athletic finish and follow, and he's going to get called for a foul, I believe. No shooting situation. Rutgers only has 14 fouls. Starts with a great penetrating move by Webb. That's what makes the defense come to react. And then you see taking advantage. Jacquet had to come across and help. You see Hill is able to swoop in from the right side, tap it in. 5-point lead. Then picks up a foul at the other end.
Darrell Hill, the true point guard on the team, is going to run it. Into the Rutgers man-to-man on Webb, trying to spin around Webb.
He's in the lane, Andy. Everybody but you and I were in the lane. I mean, there's no room to work.
Pinball taking it Shields. A 3-on-2. Here comes Douby. And can't connect. It's going to belong to St. John's. Wow.
Well, you know, it may really come down to the team that wastes the least number of possessions. With the shooting percentages what they are, when you get a chance to score, you got to seize it like gold. And these teams have wasted number break opportunities, runouts, a lot of empty possessions where they really, you think, is a good opportunity to score.
Couple of 3-on-2s, 2-on-1s, missed by both sides today. Ingram got caught in the air and finds Cuff, and the jump hook in.
Beautiful reaction. Ingram, that was off a set play. They ran him off a screen. Douby was working hard to defend him, but he still was able to get in the lane. Not able to get the shot off in the reaction pass to Cuff. He's got 5 now. And again, it seems like we just keep saying it's 3, it's 2, it's 4. It's hang-around time for the visitors.
With a minute and a half to go before halftime. Ramazana had a step on Cuff. Cuff overplaying him for a moment.
You take a look here. He just come off the baseline screen. Now he gets in the lane. Douby does a nice job making him go to his right and not fouling him. But a quick reaction, and Cuff equally quick to recognize the situation. Steps in front of the defender and gets the easy one.
The points in the paint, all St. John's right now.
Well, that's what they have to do. They haven't made it 3 yet.
And a foul as Darrell Hill tripped up Ricky Shields. Coming up at halftime, the Big East 25th anniversary team. And of course, we'll have the out-of-town scores, some interesting ones today from the Big East. And of course, we'll go over the first half here with highlights and stats. It's coming up next at halftime, just a minute and 23 seconds away.
It's been a lot of fun, those 25th anniversary teams. It's triggered a lot of discussion, debate, anger, hostility, but that's what they're meant for. You have so many great players to pick just 5. They didn't even give you the benefit of picking a second team. 5 guys. It's created a lot of fun and a lot of discussion.
A couple of active players making it around the country also. Jameer Nelson at St. Joe's is on the A10 all-time team.
No, how could you argue that one?
Yeah. Minute 10 to go. Here is Darrell Hill back near half court with Webb on that. And almost walks.
Yes. Again, look at everybody in the lane.
Ingram up and down with it, the ball loose and taken by Webb. Saves it in bounds, or did he?
Wasted again.
And Hill to the rack, and he's fouled.
Hill fouled by Hill. Adrian Hill gets back and prevents the dunk. But again, you know, now that, in fairness, is the ball going out of bounds? Maybe. But is that the best way to save it? I don't know. But it's a wasted opportunity there. You see there along the sideline. And they give away. And good job. That's a good use of a foul, though, by Adrian Hill. You don't want to just concede. Darrell Hill, a good free throw shooter, though, 75%. Rutgers, frankly, they may be on the short end of the scoreboard, but this has been St. John's, rather, this has been a victory for them this first half. This is just what you needed, assuming they don't do something wonderingly terrible here in the last 53 seconds. They are going to be within a possession or 2.
Can't connect with a free throw for Darrell Hill. He's 75% from line.
You just, next time they come down, though, after the second half, watch how hard it is to find driving lanes because they just don't have the threats to stretch the defense. There literally are 7 guys in the lane while people trying to get in there and make things happen. Have to be Houdini to find room.
4-point lead, 45 ticks to go.
Rutgers shoots it quickly. They'll get it back. Go 2 for 1. They lose it.
Unforced error. And Hill makes it a 2-point game.
Now they'll be well served to play for 1. There is a little difference between the shot clock and the game clock. There's about a second, but they'll leave Rutgers. They'll leave St. John's essentially no time. So to get to the locker room with the lead, they'd be well advised to hold for 1. It looks like that's what they'll do.
Marquise Webb along the left sideline. Lamazano back to Webb. The clock down to 10. 7 seconds. They got to look towards the basket. Exani's got a force one.
They don't shoot it.
No good.
Well, that does not have the crowd happy. Gary Wobbs is leaving, but there's still time on the clock.
Yeah, there's half second.
I think he's so disgusted he just wants to get in the locker room and start his chat with the troops. But still, that was not the possession you want to go into the intermission. And now they don't want to make it worse with a heave-a-roo at the buzzer.
Exani will take it, and that'll kill the clock. 26-24, and the friendly fans at the rack are not too happy. They let St. John's back in and could not pull away from the last place Red Storm. Coming up next, a look at the 25th anniversary team for the Big East. Halftime here at the rack, 2-point lead for the Scarlet Knights.
At Rutgers, we create knowledge for its own sake. This is a place where learning, discovery, and service are nurtured and entwined. But our university also creates knowledge that is useful, especially to the people of New Jersey. We serve our state best when our aspirations reach beyond its borders. This university is called Rutgers.
Here at the rack, 26-24. Rutgers with a 2-point lead over the visiting St. John's Red Storm, and what has been a pretty sloppy game so far, Bob. To be honest, neither team any sort of big run. The largest lead, I guess, the 16-9 lead for Rutgers, but St. John's just came right back.
Well, they're not good shooting teams. We knew that statistically going in, but there's been a lot of wasted opportunities, 2-on-1 breaks and turnovers when there were chances. But St. John's has gotten more than their share of hustle points. Look at the good play inside by Reynolds with the follow-up off the Ingram miss. Here again, Reynolds gets the loose ball and then finds his teammate. The nice dish to Cuff for the slam. They got a lot of hustle points early in the ball game. But at the other end, this is the guy who you wait. Maybe he can put a run together. Shields knocks down to 3. Then Andy, the nice job on the 2-on-1 here, avoids the charge and gets the finish. And then a possession that really was atypical. You see good ball movement here. Ball reversal. Lamazana gets a good look because the ball was reversed. Haven't been a lot of baskets off of ball movement today.
Our first half stats brought to you by Hyundai. As you can see, low field goal percentages by both teams, and only Rutgers hitting from behind the arc.
Well, that is why they have the lead. That's the advantage they have. We've said they're 4 for 7 for a long time. They haven't even tried a 3 probably in 6 or 7 minutes. But look at the two numbers right there. Even though Rutgers has made more turnovers, they've scored more points off turnovers. So they actually are fortunate. They're ahead in this game. If St. John's did a better job off turnovers, they could be on the short end of the scoreboard.
Basically, at this point, we don't know what's going to happen in the second half. A tough one to figure out so far at Rutgers, but a 2-point lead for the Scarlet Knights against the visiting St. John's Red Storm. To be underway in the second half here, 26-24. Rutgers with a 2-point lead and a slim lead, and holding back a late run by the Red Storm as we get ready for the final 20 minutes of basketball.
The first 5 minutes will be interesting to see if the game takes a different kind of direction. Right now, it's going in fits and starts.
Both teams coming back with the same starting 5 as they did at the beginning of the game. Darrell Hill runs the point for the Red Storm. Exani switches off on him defensively. Now Hill might have forced that one up, and it won't go, but an offensive rebound for Kyle Cuff. And that one's in.
Well, that is their bread and butter right now. St. John's around the basket. Big advantage you saw at halftime, points in the paint, and their second opportunity points. Let's see if Rutgers can get some perimeter game going. They try and get Shields free early. There we go.
3-point basket.
Well, that answers that, doesn't it? Gary Waters didn't get to 131 to 95 overall with oatmeal for brains. He says, let's get that guy off the screen. That looked good.
And 13 points now for Ricky Shields to lead the Scarlet Knights. I've sensed that the crowd has wanted to get into this one today. They just can't do it.
Well, that one they're hoping kick-started them a little bit. We'll see if they can put a couple of possessions together. But to St. John's credit, this tempo is very much in their favor.
Shot clock down to 5. Hill forces up a 3, and no good.
That's a good possession for Rutgers. Good three-pointer and then a great defensive stand. We thought about it.
3-point attempt for Lamazana. And they're going to wave everything off anyway, and that's going to be the 3rd foul on Adrian Hill.
No, that's to Shields' credit, his unselfishness, because he had a good look himself. But he passed it up to give it to Lamazana, who hasn't yet made a 3. I wonder if he might have been better served being a little selfish that time, because he's got it going a bit. But again, you like the unselfishness, but you also like to see when a guy makes one, give him a chance to shoot another one. See if he can get a roll going.
The Red Storm has been very deliberate on offense, also running the shot clock down several times. The layup missed by Hill.
Look at that.
And Grady Reynolds follows up.
Reynolds with a terrific job of getting the rebound off balance and then gathering himself without the bounce and still being able to put it back in, Andy. There we go. Shields again.
And hits it again.
Well, I mean, why not? Why not? The guy's got 4 threes right now. He's got 12 of your 32 points behind the line.
Slipping behind the defense, Queta missed it.
Now the crowd's in it, Andy. If they can get one up the floor here and find Shields, they'll blow the roof off the joint. Here he comes. That's a good fake.
Passes it to Hill and was pushed by Abe Queta.
3 now on Queta, but nice job again. The unselfishness of Shields. He could have easily shot that one too.
Shows you the effect of hitting all those threes. They really had to come out and meet them.
That's what, like I said, that's the missing piece for St. John's. Look at that guy with a hand right in his face. St. John's hasn't had anybody to extend that defense, and it's getting awfully crowded in the lane.
Third foul on Abe Cato.
Here he comes again off a baseline screen. Look at that release. That's all right. He should have the right to take that one. And then they get a rebound because, as you said, Andy, everybody's so spread out. Now you got rebounding lanes. That's what that does for you. So that's not a bad shot at all. Rutgers has had far less offensive rebound opportunities than St. John's has. Maybe they'll get some of those now as well.
Second team foul.
Fourth foul now on Abe Cato, his second within about a 10-second span.
Put him back on the pine.
Ramazana inbounding, finds Exani. Nice cut to the basket, 34-28 Rutgers.
And they got a little roll going now, and it all started with the perimeter game of Shields. They were so concerned about him on the inbounds pass, they lost Exani. And he's a smart player. He found the seam, got the layup.
Lamont Hamilton. Here's Reynolds through a double team, stripped away. It stays with St. John's.
Exani does, as we said at the top, a little bit of everything. And he does a little bit of everything very well.
Fifth-year seniors, Sean Exani. Here's Kyle Cuff, and was pushed by Byron Joins.
That's a bailout foul there because if he doesn't foul him, he's almost in the band. I don't know what he's going to do with the ball there. See, Exani, that's a set play. He comes off a screen by Shields, and then they pick the picker. They screen for Shields. As they were looking at Shields, Exani just continued onto the basket, got himself a wide-open lay-in.
Brady Reynolds picked up by Exani. Uses a Hamilton screen.
They're trying to look inside, but again, too many guys in the lane. If you're going to look inside, you got to give that guy some room.
Ingram tosses it right over to Webb. Here come the Scarlet Knights. Red Storm quick to get back this time. And Webb can't connect. And here come the Red Storm with Hill. And he got caught in the air. But they'll get away with it. Here comes a three-pointer. And he got it.
Well, that's big for them. We talk about they only make 4 a game. That's their first of the day. And so again, you look up there, and they're within 1.
8 points for Hill. Leads the team with 48% from behind the arc. But as you said, their first one as a team today. And it's back to a 3-point game.
Again, double stagger screen on Exani. Now he's got a clear out.
And a block on Hill.
You have my brother Jim used to like to say, shooting covers a multitude of sins, and boy does it. You see that right now, they've got this mindset now of St. John's that they had better chase him around, and by doing that, he puts it to the floor, picks up the foul on the drive. You saw the offensive rebound because the defense was spread. A lot of things open up when you shoot the basketball.
Rutgers Joel Wiggin into the game, replacing Marquise Webb. 3-point attempt for Shields, not this time.
Still a good look.
And it'll stay here. That brings us to an official timeout. 15:54 to go in the ball game. Tight one still here at the rack. 34-31. Rutgers leading St. John's. Still a tie one at the rack. 34-31. A 3-point lead for the homestanding Scarlet Knights. And Ricky Shields has really been the reason that they still have this lead.
Like all great shooters, well, you can do it off the dribble too, you see that. But when he gets it off a pass, watch how he's getting his feet set while the ball is still in the air. Look at that. He's getting himself squared away as he's coming off of the screen. That's what great shooters do. That's why they're able to get it off so quickly. Perfect example there. As he goes to the corner, that short distance while the ball's in the air, he's got his body square and his feet set, and he can catch and fire.
He's got a pretty shot to a big arc on those 3-pointers.
The fundamentals are very sound on that shot, no question.
All right, Wiggins going to run the point now for Rutgers.
See if they have up their sleeve out of this timeout. Looking inside first.
Ramazana spins, banks it in.
Nice move. Set up by the good post up inside. They had to respect Joins post up, move inside. Let Ramazana get a dribble, an angle to put the ball on the floor off the dribble and get the bank shot.
Only 6 points today for Ramazana, averaging 13 a game. Cuff backs in on him and sinks it, and a foul.
Well, play to your strengths. That's what the girl that brung you in the first half. St. John's was in it because of their interior play. A nice move inside there. And what's amazing is that if they make this free throw, it's exactly what it was at the intermission. They were down 2. They're still down 2. Gary Waters is going to take a timeout here. And that will be a full timeout, the first call timeout in the second half.
So Waters hands on hips, pulling his team over to him. Timeout, 15-18 to go. 3-point lead for Rutgers, but St. John's hanging in there. For Rutgers against the Red Storm, 36-33. We'll take a look at Shooting the Rockets, brought to you by Rolling Rock Beer. Grab a rock. And the shooting percentages, we've talked about a couple of times today. Both teams, as you said, Bob, playing down to those season numbers.
Well, give credit to the defensive effort. They certainly are making the effort defensively, but not shooting it especially well, which is why not to beat it over the head. But Ricky Shields is 4 for 7 behind the three-point line. That's 12 points on 7 shots. That's like shooting 6 for 7 inside the arc. I mean, you know, even if he misses a couple, why not let him pull the trigger? Because that's by far and away the best percentage that they got working right now.
Meantime, Kyle Cuff converting a three-point play after the Lamazana foul. 5 minutes into the second half, just about.
It looked like they're trying to get Lamazana away. They ran him off the screen. Here he comes again.
Lamazana will fire up a three, and it won't go. And here comes St. John's with a chance to tie it or take the lead.
Oh boy, is that
wide open three, and St. John's forges ahead.
Wow, how simple was that? What a big game Cuff has as well now.
13 points for Kyle Cuff. Andy Freedom, Bob Valvano with you from the rack in Piscataway, New Jersey. St. John's with their first real lead in a long time.
I was just say Cuff averages about 9, a little more than 9 a game, and he's making up for the fact Ingram is under his average. Ingram only has 4, and he averages about 12. Take a look here, and this is what they call in football a missed assignment. He is wide open. And they made that one look easy. And he's a good three-point shooter. Well, not a good three-point shooter percentage-wise, only about 24% because we get a foul here. But he's made 10 now on the year, so at least you know you got to guard him. He will shoot.
It's the first lead for St. John's since it was 7-5. Very early.
They're definitely looking more for Lamazana. He's also well below his average. They're trying to get him going.
Might have been an inadvertent pass there, but they get points anyway.
Yeah, he was trying to shoot it. It got knocked out of his hands, which joins the bucket, though. So I guess Gary Waters feels that's the problem with their team. Lamazana only has 6, well under his average. They want to get him going.
6 minutes into the second half. Brady Reynolds with Exani on him. Ingram, three-pointer. And St. John's back in front.
That's what my old coach used to call a stick in the eye right there. Just got an easy one at the other end. 7 points for him now and a 2-point lead for the visitors.
Exani. He'll go to the line.
That's strong. Let me tell you how intelligent this young man is as a player. I mean, he just, again, what your team needs right now, you need an answer at the for the three. Look at Ingram. We talk about the high percentage he shoots. The one St. John's guy who does shoot a good percentage behind the arc. That's enormous for them. And Exani comes back and tries to kind of ram it down their throat a bit, but misses the free throw now. And I still stand by what I said at the top. The further this goes, the pressure mounts on a Rutgers team that is 7-1 in this building and desperately needs this win. And Exani misses both. Yeah.
Doing it in front of their home crowd, which is a sellout here today. Now playing a great game as Rutgers.
8,097 in the building, sellout crowd, and wasted opportunities will definitely come back and haunt whoever the loser is.
Hill, no good. Here's Exani back for the Scarlet Knights. Needs somebody to pass to, and Wiggin cuts across. And Wiggins going to take it coast to coast and drops it in.
That's a nice read there. You take what the defense gives you. They took away all his passing lanes. Means you got a chance to go to the hole, and that's just what he did. We are dead even.
7 minutes into the second half, 40-40 tie. And that'll get the crowd back into it a little bit. Our 5th tie of the game. This is Kyle Cuff.
Nice defense.
And it won't go.
Good defense that time by Joins. Man, take a tough ball away.
And Joins slips behind the defense, and it's swatted away by Reynolds. Lamazana finds a seam and a charge.
If you're doing an instructional film for officials and say, here's a charge, take a look at that. The crowd may not like it. That's an easy call. So Reynolds with a defensive clinic here first. The terrific block. Comes across from the backside, knocks it away, and then as the play continues, he steps in and takes the charge. So a little personal defensive highlight from Reynolds, not only doing it on the offensive end, but on the defensive end as well. Twice thwarting these Scarlet Knights.
It's the second personal on Lamazana. And a hold on Joel Wiggin. And St. John's, you can just see they're getting more and more fired up.
Again, score the points is about right. They want to keep it in around 60. They have a great record when the game is under 60 for the opposition. So they know that this tempo suits them. They're not in any kind of real foul trouble.
This is Ingram. The lefty makes a move down the lane, feeds off the cuff, and fouled by Jones.
Well, Lamazana really wanted the charge on the drive. He stood in there and took one for the team. Gary Waters now screaming, hey, what about the other end? Look, Lamazana's there. Oh, no, you know what? On the replay, you can sense it's a good call. He jumps forward just a little bit, like the chest bump that guys do when they celebrate. He didn't really stand in there and take it. Good job by the officials. It showed slow motion more obviously than it did when it happened for real, which is why Gary Waters was so upset. But now Cuff a chance to go to the line.
Second personal on Byron Jones. There he's got it.
Hey,
look at that.
Well, that's the number we were just alluding to. Can't do better than that. A perfect 20-0 since the 98-99 season when they hold teams in this conference under 60. So Kevin Clark hoping that's how it plays out down the stretch. And now they're making free throws as well. Cuff knocks in a couple. He's having a big game.
He's got 15 points, 4 or 5 from the line today.
Careful here. Extend his defense. Got to know where Shields is. They go to that three-quarter court press. They find him quickly. Good job there finding him.
And an offensive foul on Joel Wiggin.
That was a good defensive possession for St. John's there.
And that'll bring us to an official's timeout. 11:53 to go in the ball game. It's heating up at the rack as St. John's has forged ahead by a bucket. St. John's has taken a lead here at the rack, 42-40. A little more than 8 minutes into the second half. And we'll see if Rutgers can get it going. They're having a flat game at home. And St. John's, to their credit, is trying to turn their season around. You know, if you're the last place team and you're playing the second to last place team, you almost have to win that game if you're going to salvage your season.
Well, it is. That's why I say the further it goes, the better it bodes for the visitor, because the pressure will be even more on Rutgers. Rutgers has made more turnovers than St. John's. They've got 14 to 11 in that capacity, and now St. John's has the lead and the ball, a chance to go up. It's too early to start thinking possessions, but hey, it's a low-scoring game. A 5-point lead's big lob.
And Grady Reynolds taps it in.
That was a set play out of the timeout. Kevin Clark applauds his team because they ran that one just as he wanted and got the 12th point for Reynolds on a set play to give his team a 4-point margin.
12 points for Grady Reynolds. A slashing Shields has it blocked away. And St. John's comes out of the pack with it with Reynolds, and then he stepped on the baseline, I think.
I guess he was on the line. Take a look at the set play here again. St. John's disguised it well. They spread the floor a little bit, and then they got the back screen. Take another look again. And he does a nice job of catching it and getting it up there softly. You don't have to worry about catching it and dunking it. Just get the job done. Good execution out of that set play.
Good body control for Reynolds. Here's Douby, and a three-point basket pulling Rutgers to within one.
Oh, that guy has some offensive skills. Second three in the ballgame, a set play there, and another catch and release quickly.
5 points for Quincy Douby off the bench, half of his average on the year. Ingram feeds off to Reynolds, working on Exani, going to the baseline, and Exani with a fine job of defense, but St. John's gets it anyway. The shot clock down to 9. Ingram dumps it to Reynolds. And Rutgers on the transition. Webb finds Shields. Here comes the three-point attempt. No good. Saved in bounds by Webb. Taken by Stanley ahead to Reynolds.
What a beautiful little pass that was. Stanley had to put a little touch on like a football player, putting it out there and letting the receiver run under it. And Reynolds with the good hustle. And again, a 4-point lead for the Red Storm.
14 for Reynolds. Douby can't connect. Had a pretty good look there off the glass, too.
Just when a guy makes one, you think maybe he'll get on a roll. He just hit that three, and now he gets the miss there. Oh, nice pass.
Hill finding Cuff. won't go. Here's Douby back for the Scarlet Knights.
Zani with a good block out that time, and Reynolds had him absolutely right on his hip.
They dump it to Lamazana. He's been very quiet today. And gets his own tip. 2-point game.
That's an individual effort there. They kind of threw it to him and stared at him. Didn't make a lot of movement. He had a slice in there. Got the tip. Makes it a 2-point game, and this crowd is in it now.
3-point attempt by Ingram. Long rebound, tipped away. Cuff finding Reynolds, and it's batted by Exani. And then he's fouled.
Well, those are the little things that win or lose your games. Douby did a great job on the long rebound. It almost turned into a great interior bounce pass. That's not his man, but he reads and reacts to the ball, slides in and gets a hand on it, and breaks up the play. Talk about individual effort here. Lamazana splits the defenders, gets the miss, and the easy tip back. Did that one all his own self. Good effort on the block.
Second foul on Kyle Cuff. 16 foul for the Red Storm.
He wants it again, and again they got an isolation for him.
There he goes, and then he is fouled before he got into the paint.
Now Kevin Clark's going to have to make a decision. In situations like that, they are going clear out. He's by himself. They got 4 guys on the other side of the floor. Are you going to run at him? Are you going to double big to big? Are you going to double on the bounce? I don't know that you just want to play him one-on-one, because even on the miss, he shows he can tip it. I would think you'll want to double him one way, shape, or form. Make him find somebody. Pass it out of it.
Misses the one-on-one. Both teams, by the way, now into the bonus with 17 fouls. Locked away by Douby.
Second great defensive play by Douby.
4-on-2.
What a beautiful pass by Lamazana. The look away finds Shields for the easy one. St. John said this crowd's getting a little bit too loud for our liking.
So Clark is going to take the 30-second timeout. 18 points for Shields. And that's really his first one. That's not a long-distance shot. We'll take a look now at the BMW ultimate drive of the game, the play that we just saw.
See, there could have been the ultimate drive, but Douby says not here with the great block. Exani with the reverse pivot. He finds an open passing lane, and Lamazana does a nice job of jump stop with his good space and finds Shields. If he takes it one more dribble in there, the defender might be able to play him and the receiver. His good spacing. He makes the look-away pass, and Shields may get an easier basket than that in his career, but I'm not sure how, because he was wide open for the lay-in.
And we begin again with 8 minutes and 51 seconds to go. St. John's ball. We're all tied up.
Extended defense a little bit here. Just straight man-to-man. Just bothering a little bit.
Andy Freedom, Bob Valvano with you from the rack in New Jersey. Tie game. St. John's and Rutgers.
See who they're looking for. They look for Hill that time. He goes baseline. Nice.
Oh, what a move.
Yeah, beautiful. That was off a baseline screen. And they got the penetration from the guard. They get a lot of points in the lane. 10 for him now off that nice drive.
Spread out scoring today, too, for St. John's today. 3 guys in double digits.
Oh, great hustle.
And he saved it at bounds. It goes to Lamazana, who's fouled.
Oh, that's just bad luck. Yeah, Kevin Clark has his head in his hands because this kid does everything that you want him to do. Gets a hand on the ball, makes a great hustle play, throws it back in bounds, and it winds up being almost a 3-point play for Lamazana. Good foul, actually, just his first for Ingram, and to make Lamazana earn it from the line. Baseline drive, you see the defender lost sight of the ball a bit. And the weak side defender, that is not the on-ball defender. And there's the foul to keep Lamazana from making an easy lay-in.
9 points now for the senior from the Ivory Coast. Looking to find double digits, and does, and that also ties the game. All right, it'll be an 8-minute game today.
Yeah, 1 high school quarter to go to separate the winner from the loser here today. Kevin Clark calls 4.
Hill finds Ingram, who goes baseline on his weak hand, and it won't go. Offensive rebound and put back by Tyler Jones, seeing his first minutes of the game.
Andy, you said it. They're getting contributions from a lot of guys. That's a perfect example. He just comes in the ballgame, gets a big stick back for his team.
It's been close all day. Quincy Douby And a mismatch here with Reynolds. And took advantage of it.
That is a very hard shot, and you're floating. And that teams are getting some scoring going here. The shooting percentages have gone up a bit. A little offensive flow here. They've already scored more points than they did in the first half.
And Hill is fouled. Exani picks it up.
Saw the seam and made the good assertive move, and he'll get a chance to go to the line.
Rutgers foul number 32.
So Hill will shoot 2 shots.
Scarlet Knights 8.
Shooting percentages, finally, Rutgers over 40% at about 41. And St. John's is just under 40 at 39, a little bit better than they did in the first half.
St. John's back in front. Hill 75% from the line this year. Adrian Hill playing with 3 fouls back into the game for the Scarlet Knights, replacing Exani, who just was tagged with a personal. Hill's got 11 points today. Just 2 of 4 from the line, though. Douby's going to try a 3-pointer in transition.
I'm showing my bias, but I love that. Why not? You got guys who shoot it like that. Why do you have to run 8 passes to get that shot? It's a great shot. Douby's got his second 3, and that has been the big advantage for the Scarlet Knights behind the arc.
And Tyler Jones puts another one in from Hill.
Nice penetration by Hill. The guards now finding seams. Hill found the baseline drive a few possessions ago. That time in the middle makes the nice pass. Douby's feeling it. He wanted to look there. Again, there's the isolation. They're going to play him one-on-one. He's going to make him pay.
What a scoop by Lamazana.
Again, if you're going to play him simply one-on-one, he's going to kill you. Oh, and a run-out.
A stuff by Jones. He's got 6 points off the bench in the last minute and a half.
A leak out there that Rutgers cannot afford. Gary Waters calling his team on it. What is going on, fellas? Game is too close. Possessions are too precious to give up an easy one like that. He's got the look of a man who doesn't understand it. Look at Lamazana. If you don't double him, he's going to kill you there. That's a beautiful move, especially going to his right. But then while they're busy celebrating, this guy has made his presence felt. Tyler Jones, 6 points, and made a bunch of hustle plays. He almost got a rebound on that missed free throw. He has been a little Action Jackson right now for the last couple of minutes for St. John.
Taylor Clarkson, you'd like to get Jones some more time this year, but he's not a good practice player, so he feels like he can't get him in. But every time he puts him in lately, he's been doing some pretty good things.
Well, that is a tough situation. You are right about that. Guys, look at those field goal percentages in the second half, by the way. Both teams at or over 50%. These are teams we talk about that are well down statistically in the conference for overall shooting percentage. So they're finding some answers offensively.
Well, we were talking about it was kind of an ugly and sloppy first half. It's been a very pretty second half.
It's been a very entertaining second half. A lot of ebb and flow in the game, and got some guys stepping up and making plays against St. John's. Extends that defense a little bit. More of a nuisance to slow them down. Now they're going to get back in the zone, though.
Douby, another 3-pointer. You bet.
The prosecution rests its case.
14 now off the bench for Quincy Douby.
What a nice look against that zone. That was not easy, but they made it look easy.
Hill's been the igniter for the Red Storm. Feeds off to Ingram.
That could prove to be a very significant bucket.
And missed the layup. He did everything right except cash it in.
Yeah, that was actually pretty uncontested at the end of it.
Webb's going to run the point now for the Scarlet Knights, who have a 3-point lead in the ball. Douby, another 3-pointer. No way.
That is the way you're supposed to play the game. You got a guy who's, I'm not sure you'd want to touch him right now. He's so hot. Find him. Make sure he gets a chance to turn a shot down before somebody else pulls the trigger.
Ingram 3-pointer. And the Red Storm answer back.
That's a gutsy answer right there by Ingram, especially off that missed layup. That was ice water. Just caught it, fired it, and again, no, that's a foul there. Wow, they missed that.
Douby, another 3-pointer. You're kidding me. A
freshman.
Quincy Quincy Douby is making 8,000 fans believers. He's got 19 points off the bench.
Well, Rutgers has shown the most offensive intelligence they've shown all afternoon. That's brilliant work, finding the right guy and doing it right out of the flow.
And Ingram off the front rim. Suddenly a 6-point lead for Rutgers with the ball. 4:20 to go.
Whoever shoots it without Douby touching it should have their scholarship revoked.
And fouled.
No, he wants a timeout.
Timeout, okay. Stanley went for the steal there. Timeout on the floor. 4 minutes, 14 seconds to go. The Quincy Doobies are leading St. John's 64-58. Rutgers on top of St. John's. 4:14 to go. Time now for the Cooper Tire Defensive Player of the Game, Hervé Lamazana. 5 rebounds, 4 blocks. He is 12th in the nation in blocks, and that gives him just under 50 for the year.
We talked about the advantage St. John's had in the paint. Lamazana, by deterring some shots, that's very, very significant. We also talked about that magic number for the Red Storm. When teams go over 60, it doesn't bode well for them. 20-0 in the Big East, and they hold teams under 60. Rutgers now has 4+ to go, already at 64. Largely because that guy who has been on fire.
He's got 19 points. Quincy Douby off the bench. Lamazana with Cuff on him. He goes left and fouled up top by Stanley. Exactly 4 minutes to go, and that'll be the 19th foul in St. John's. So a 1-and-1 coming up for Lamazana.
Well, you show the versatility. I mean, he is 6'10". Put it on the bounce, going on the crossover, going left. A chance to go to the line, and he is a decent free throw shooter, about 65%.
12 points today. One more and he'll hit a season average. And that's the home bounce.
That's why there's 71 in this building. The rims know. They get it.
7-point lead for Rutgers. And another. 66-58. Rutgers on top. Under 4 minutes to go.
Some kind of an answer the Red Storm have. They need a good shot here. This could slip away from them going down that last segment after the final media time.
Stanley open to the lane and puts it in.
That's pretty good possession. Pretty gutsy shot, too, for a guy who hasn't scored yet. A mid-range jumper, got it to go.
Tripped up is Webb as Cuff is the perpetrator of that foul.
That's a tough call. It's the right call, though, and he's pleading his case. I didn't mean to touch him, but what is an advantage gained by the contact, which was initiated by the defender. The officials have no choice but to call that and turn into a double bonus now for home team.
And that's 4 on Kyle Cuff. He's fouled out of 1 game this year. And Webb puts one in. 7-point lead again for Rutgers, looking to make it 8. That's his 2nd point of the game. Officials timeout. 3:35 to go from here on the rack, and Rutgers playing the best that they played all game long. Leads St. John's by 8. Today's ESPN Plus game is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And by Advance Auto Parts. We're ready in advance. Advance Auto Parts. 8-point lead for Rutgers. Mr. Valvano.
Yeah, this was and it remains a special place to all of us. And frankly, to be honest, not to kiss up to people on both sides, but Jim loved his life as a broadcaster. But had he come back to coach, I think he would have been seriously tempted by either of these programs. They had special places in his heart. You're not born in Queens without a great respect for St. John's, and he loved his days here at Rutgers. So it's kind of a very emotional reminder when I come back here, and it's nice that they honor him that way. And it's nice of you guys to put that on, fellas. Thank you.
Indeed. 68-60, approaching the 3-minute mark. Ingram got caught in the air. He's had that happen several times today.
Trying to run a foul.
Yeah.
That was a force. You just can't afford that. You got to make sure you get a good look with an 8-point margin right now. You're going to start running out of time.
And Webb has it almost stolen. It's going to head out of bounds. Stanley touched it last, and it'll belong to Rutgers. Bob, of course, talking about his brother Jim, a legendary name, legendary presence, a name which is
those shorts. Look at those shorts. Jim showing off the gams there. But yeah, he played here, played with a great All-American, one of 3 guys to have his jersey retired. Bob Lloyd was the shooting guard. Jim was the point guard. He could score over 1,000 points, and they went to the NIT semifinals. And look at Douby putting on a show that would have fit right in with that backcourt of Lloyd and Valvano, I think.
Ingram's open from 3. That would have been big, but the tip does go by Kyle Cuff. Still a ball game with less than 2.5 to go.
Cuff has been very instrumental. 17 points today and making big plays when they've needed them, and that was a big one. Keeps it a now you start thinking possessions. It is a 2-possession game. Although for St. John's, more likely a 3 because they just don't shoot threes that well.
Ramazana's gotten hot in the second half.
That guy shoots threes, though.
Shields kept him in it early. Douby opened it up later on.
On the bench scoring 27-8. That's why because Douby's got 19 off the bench.
Shot clock down.
That's what you want.
Off the front rim.
Boy, was that wide open. He won't get a better look than that. Great hustle on the floor, and the arrow's going to favor Rutgers, so a terrific hustle play to keep the ball with right now only 1:47. That's a big-time play getting on the floor by Adrian Hill. Wow, those are the things that win and lose your games that don't show up in the box score. Look at that. First, Shields keeps it alive, then on the floor, great hustle. And the arrow favors Rutgers, and now they get a fresh 35, and if they're smart, and Gary Waters is the universal sign for run some clock. Gets that hand going. Says, guys, take a look at the scoreboard. We don't need anything quick here.
So for Rutgers, it was perfect. Shot clock got down to nothing, and then they got the offensive rebound.
That's exactly right. That winds up a perfect possession. And they're in their delay game here. See the double stack high. The baseline guy pops out after the ball's reversed.
1.5 minutes to go, and a foul on Darrell Hill. And you can start to see from some of the reactions of the St. John's players that frustration has certainly set in. They had the momentum in this game.
To be torturous. He's trying to pressure the, I don't know if he's angry at the call on himself because he knows better. Guys use this dribble. He just can't foul him there. But trying to make something happen. Clock is getting to be very much the friend of the Scarlet Knights.
19 points now for Ricky Shields and a perfect 3 of 3 from the line.
The story of the ball game again behind the arc. They are 10 of 19 behind the arc. And St. John's is right at their average of 4. This is the second one.
7-point lead for Rutgers, and St. John's better hurry.
Well, they better get a good one before they worry about hurrying. They got to score on this possession. Can't dilly-dally with it, but they got to get a bucket.
And Hill makes up for the foul.
And they do. So they actually made a point back there because they only got 1 free throw. Nice look by Lamazana.
Shields bounces it to Hill. And then he's fouled.
Wow, if Tyler Jones keeps running, that's a steal. And that's the one you like to steal coming from the back. The bounce pass, the guy didn't really see you, and he just kind of was a half step slow there. We talked about that sometimes there's a concern about the effort in practice, and that's sometimes where it translates. Watch him if he just keeps running. You see him slows down just for a second. And that's why coaches make a big deal about that. If you practice with that habit, and when you're running full bore, that's a steal. That's, again, it's one of those things. There's a million of those details that go into it. You never get them all, but the guy that gets most of them right, that wins the game.
He missed. This free throws down the end, leave the door open.
I promise you, Gary Waters cannot see it. He'd like that clock to go in 8-second increments right now and just race along. Get out of Dodge with one here. They're not home free just yet.
So 1 of 2 for sophomore Adrian Hill from Canton, Ohio.
Now this is where you'll look for a 3 from somebody maybe. No, they're going to go right to the rack.
And he's going to go to the line, too.
Well, that's fine, too. You get a chance for 2 points, and you've only lost about 5 seconds off the clock. The big one they'll need is, obviously, if you can make both of them, but especially if you get that second one to go down so they can set their press up, because they're going to need a steal or 2. And they're not going to win this just by trading possessions. They're going to have to make a play defensively, so if they can get their defense set, they're going to have to force a turnover.
Stanley's got it.
The game has followed the script. St. John's, we talked about at the very top, statistically even in almost everything except threes, and that's where they're getting beat today. They are 4 made threes, 10 given up. That's a lot of points to have to make up. It's a lot of twos to make up for that 18-point differential.
Stanley hits them both. A 4-point game, and here comes the press for St. John's.
That's a great place to trap.
And they're going to break it with the pass and then a foul in the backcourt. With not a whole lot of time going off the clock.
Well, that's the advantage of it, is they didn't use a lot of time, but still they are in this situation. They just can't be trading free throws. Somebody's going to have to make a play, or they're going to, and the double bonus, they're going to need a guy who's made the only 2 free throws he's attempted to suddenly struggle from the line. It doesn't look like he's doing it.
Next one big because it would mean 2 3-pointers could only tie the game. Marcus Webb looking for his 4th point. And they've all come from the line today. Big free throws.
That's what you got to do. Make your free throws late and then get a stop defensively. Rutgers needs to get some stops down here.
Whoa, up and under, it won't go. A wild shot, and then Cuff puts it back. 4-point lead.
Rutgers needs to stop somebody, and St. John's needs a turnover. You've got to do it because you can't let the clock run, but they've got to make a play without fouling. 1 possession.
Foul number 3, Darrell Hill. That's his 4th personal foul.
Well, Quincy Douby off the bench, the freshman, is the guy that really interjected some life into this Rutgers team.
Well, he made it from everywhere, too. Left side, floaters on the right side, off of passes, in transition, from the corner. Offensive potpourri there.
Free throw good by Webb.
Like these little things right now. Gary Waters got to be pleased, this team late here, making their free throws, not turning the ball over. If they could stop somebody at the other end, they could go to the locker room and get this over with. But they have had a hard time stopping the Red Storm, who keep finding ways to score. Look at the numbers for Douby. Wow.
30-second timeout.
Not a bad job for the freshman from Brooklyn. Well, we were talking about it in high school. He twice scored 60 points in a game. 60. 2 times his senior year. Now that's high school.
I think I scored 60 my senior year. That was 60 my senior year. I don't mean in a game.
Cumulatively, you're talking about.
Yeah, that's he's good for about 3 a game. That's impressive. But boy, he's another guy. I love shooters, and I love when they are guys that, you know, there's a difference between being a scorer and being a shooter, and he can score, but he's a shooter. The footwork, the technique of getting himself squared to the basket while the ball's in the air, and you look at Rutgers trying to put an end to that bit of frustration that goes back to my birthday, oddly enough, January 29th. How about that? So, in 1997, and they are 40 and a half seconds away from doing that.
2-possession game. I wonder if the Red Storm are going to look from behind the arc here. No, they're looking to dump it to Reynolds, and Hill tips it out of bounds.
Well, that's dangerous because even if they score, it's still 2 possessions, and it's going to take them a long time. You think maybe a quick hit or a little penetrating pitch, something fast. Ingram is going to look for one, I think, from out here.
And no good. And then tangled up on the far side. Stanley and Marcus Webb.
That might have been the stop that the home team needed to finally put the finishing note on this, because even if he makes 2 of these, it's still technically a 2-possession game, but boy, you'd be hard-pressed to believe Rutgers is going to give up 2 threes here in the last 27 seconds against the St. John's team that has not shown great proficiency.
Even 1 of 2 here. All but finishes off the Red Storm.
Well, still, they only need 1 3. You can get 1 3, and if they make a play at 2, but if he makes this one tough, I'm not sure they got 2 threes in him. We'll see.
He makes them both. Boy, Webb. 8 straight free throws.
Very impressive.
Less than half a minute to go. They got to look to the 3-point line. And ends up being cuffed. And it won't go. Tipped around. And a foul on Stanley, and that is pretty much going to finish off the Red Storm, who will lose their 6th consecutive game.
And in frustrating fashion again. I mean, it's not like they're going out and just rolling over and dying and getting blown out of the building. I mean, and the kids deserve great credit for that. This is a difficult situation. But the fact of the matter is, it is almost a decade. You see that? They lasted the 6-game losing streak, 94-95. That was a 500 season for them. They got a long way to go to get to that. If they lose this, they'll be at 4-11.
And he hits that one.
But Rutgers gets a big. They get this one. I don't know how you spell that if you're transcribing this, but that is a big, big home win that keeps them very, very successful in this building against a team that still winless in the conference.
How about Webb getting into double digits, 10 points, all from the line.
Yeah, that's fun. He's in a groove from the stripe anyway.
Nice shot by Darrell Hill. With 10.1 to go, and St. John's will take a timeout.
A lot of points in the second half. My goodness, there's been a lot of points in the second half. It's been like they played two halves compared to what they did in the first 20 minutes when it was 26-24. We got a 50 spot on the board for Rutgers.
Gary Waters tried to talk to his troops for the 8-point lead, and there they are at the rack. They'd be 8-1 this year at the rack if they can hang on. What a home advantage, but what an incredible number away from this building.
Well, you know, the proper way to look at that, though, is when you're building a program, you got to take care of business in your backyard first, and they're doing that. Now, the challenge to get it to the next level is to get one of those breakthrough road wins that just instills the confidence that, you know, you may not win 60% away from home, but 40%, you know, from down to the 20s where they are now, all of a sudden you're on the right track, and the thought that you can get a couple of those away from home. But they are awfully tough in this building. Douby says, foul me, I want to shoot again.
And with 4 seconds left, that's pretty much going to do it. Webb dribbles towards midcourt, and the ball game is over. So the Rutgers Scarlet Knights stave off a scare from the St. John's Red Storm, but the Red Storm now go to 0-6 in conference, 4-12 on the year. Scarlet Knights go to 10-6 overall, 2-4 overall in the Big East. So the Scarlet Knights ensure that they do not sink any closer towards the cellar. And the Red Storm back to the drawing board in what has been a season of frustration for them, no doubt. It gets a little bit worse for them. So our final score again, Rutgers 78 and St. John's 70. For our entire crew and for Bob Valvano, I'm Andy Freed. This has been a presentation of ESPN Plus, the worldwide leader in collegiate sports television.
College basketball on